This is the man from Modesto. For the last several days I've been praying each night as I go to bed. Father, please show me something to share with the people. And every night I'm beginning to realize the theme is the same: deception. And not just deception, people not understanding something, but very well planned and executed deception. Control of organizations. In an earlier video this week I talked about how they controlled the titles, and that the titles were meant to actually be curses. But when the whole week's dreaming taken together, those people controlled those organizations, that multi-level marketing group, that secret society group, that they could tell you, that they could dictate this is what the titles of the different levels within our organization are going to be, so that people would assume those curses, those titles which were designed to be a curse on their head, right? But last night again I saw there was a Jesuit man. He was retiring, and every paper he had to file 2 of them. Well, why do you have to file things twice? Because there's one set of books that's available for public scrutiny and another set of books that's secret. People have double accounting when they're hiding something. A business has 2 sets of books because they have one that they use to report their taxes and one that they're hiding, right? Everybody sees that in the mafia films, right? So 2 sets of books means there's deception. So that was the first part of the dream. In the last part of the dream, it went through this large building. It was this organization where a lot of youth were coming in to volunteer to help children. But what I saw as this one volunteer walked through is that the things weren't really what they were supposed to be. They were all kind of altered, and they were all kind of designed. This one guy was told, okay, you're going to wear a Ronald McDonald suit. But as he put it on, it was really an Obama suit. And in the end, it was Obama standing there, which I'm interpreting to mean an anti-American spirit, a spirit of control, just going by all the laws that Obama has passed. Now, Obama's telling them, like, no, you need to find me a better program for them to watch. I want a better one that's just like this and this and this. And basically, in the last building, in the last room of the building, all the children were being shown these movies, and the movies were teaching them how to be liberal, how to be sexually open, how to do all these other things. Like there were subtle suggestions. It wasn't just saying, hey, do whatever you want sexually. It was like subtle suggestions, just like they do in the movies, where they just make a random statement like, oh, you know, college, the time when you're supposed to experiment sexually, which isn't true. You're never supposed to experiment sexually. When you're married, you have relations with your spouse, and that's it. You don't need to go out and experiment sexually with all kinds of different people, doing different things with whatever and this ever and that book and this thing. It's not important. I'm not saying you can't experiment with your spouse. I'm just saying it's not required, and it's certainly just going to college doesn't give you special permission outside of God's will to do whatever you want. Another thing they try to teach you is, hey, prom night, that's the night you're supposed to lose your virginity. No, that's your wedding night. Right? So they're subtly reprogramming people. So the point of all these nights of dream is that what groups are you in? Who controls your pastor if you go to a church? I went to a small church, and this guy's like, oh no, we are completely independent. But twice a year, the pastor went off to these conferences, and when he came back from one of them, he had totally changed his doctrine about America is under scrutiny, and America is going to be punished, and he was all into Bill Johnson and Todd Bentley. And the church went straight downhill. All kinds of sexual sin broke out in the church. People's finances went way down. People started losing their jobs. The 2 of the very best old men, the prayer warriors, died. Just wickedness came in there, right? And how did he get that? Because he was really under what he called a loose confederation. But they did whatever they were told in that group. They only hired new assistant pastors from one of the other churches in the group. It was basically a denomination in which all the churches had different names. But what about, you know, years ago you could look up the World Council of Churches, and you'd find that they were claiming that they had more than like 200,000 independent churches, individual churches under their umbrella. Now you can't find that information. They stripped it all away because people started to talk about it widely. Because all those churches beneath there are getting their doctrine. So they broke it up into the Ohio Council of Churches. They broke it up into smaller groups that you won't find so easily in a search. But they still have this council of churches, and it's led by the Satanists. And they're teaching doctrines that destroy, not doctrines that bring you closer to God. So really look at every organization that you're a part of and ask yourself, am I being intentionally deceived here? What is the history of this group? What is its origins? Who controls it? Who teaches the doctrines? Do they go to seminary? Do they teach the Bible there? Or do they teach denominational doctrines? Which is what many ex-ministers, ex-pastors have come out and said. I went to seminary and they didn't teach me the Bible. They taught me denominational doctrine. I've heard that from several ex-ministers, ex-pastors. People, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Because the kingdom of God is built upon listening to what God says and overriding what people are saying. That's where the kingdom of God is based. Jesus looked right at the apostles. He said, who do men say I am? They said, well, Moses, reincarnated, maybe John the Baptist or some other prophet, reincarnated. So Jesus just looked at them without saying anything. And then he said, who do you say I am? And Peter said, you're the Son of God. And now Jesus says, upon this rock, not Peter, but upon the rock of believing God before believing men, that is what the kingdom of God is based upon. That is what the kingdom of God is based upon. And that's precious. And you can take that little rock, believing God before man, and hold it close to your heart and don't let anybody take it from you. Because some people really are holding a silver coin. They've been bought out. They've been bought out to betray Jesus in order to follow the church and be a part of the church. You're holding a little rock, right? That faith in God above men, but other people are holding a silver coin. And I need you to open your hand and look at your life and look at the circumstances of the organizations that you believe, that you follow, that you obey, to which you give your money, which you support with your volunteerism. Are they really building the kingdom of God, or are they building a wicked kingdom of men? What holidays do you follow? This is what I'm asking you. There's a lot of deception in the world. A lot of deception in the world. Are you deceived? In any area. Look at every area of your life, one by one. Write them all down. Make a list. Go through it. Work through it. But are you deceived? Are you deceived anywhere? Are you deceived anywhere? Because it's almost all corrupt. This is the man from Modesto reminding you as always to pray or be defeated.